All right, so it looks like there isn't nobody in the stream yet, so I'm just going to treat this like a video. Basically, where I left off yesterday was the x-axis, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably start getting the x-axis installed on the 3D printer and put together. So that's what we're going to be working on. Maybe a few people will come in here shortly. Hey, there's the first layer. All right, I'm glad to have somebody in here with me. I thought I was all by myself. How do I sound over there on your end? Am I too loud? Man, I loved your stream last night. It was great. I wish I would have kind of come across that earlier on. That way, I might have would have went the route you went, because I actually have a drill press. That would have been an interesting thing, and taps. Go ahead and drill and tap my own frame and stuff. All right, thanks, Nick. Hey, it's good to see you here again, Nick. I'm a little anxious about getting this thing put together. 2 days in a row. I can't help it. This is pretty much the weekends is all the time that I have spare time. It's going to be real hard for me to get in here in the middle of the week, working all week long. I come home from work, I'm usually pretty wore out, so try to get as much done as I can today. So I'm going to need I think this is the linear rail, and I believe, I want to say this is the D or the E extrusion. Somehow the way I had this stuff labeled, I'd gotten it all mixed up, the labels and things, but this is the one that had the tape on and everything. Yeah, the first layer, you sure did. You inspired me to want to get after trying to drill and tap one of these things. I probably need to get this out of the way for right now. So I got in here. Now, one thing I did do is got in here and cut the 300 millimeter linear rail. I needed the little piece for the tap, and I 3D printed this little part right here that's suggested in the tap guide, and then it was in the STL files. I got it cut. I think it's going to work just fine. But what I did was, when I was cutting it, I had a little short piece on the end right here that needed to cut off of it, and I was cutting it with a little Dremel. And I actually told my wife before I started cutting, I said, I might ought to take the Crocs off before I start cutting. Now, I was wearing safety glasses, but I had Crocs on with no socks, and once the little piece fell off, it fell right into the hole on top of my toes. It burnt the fire out of me. Friends don't let friends cut linear rails in Crocs. So right now it's telling me the part preparation is going to be for this assembly. That's, I guess that would be the afterburner assembly. But we're not using the afterburner on this one. Yeah, it burned pretty good. It's still burning. It's probably about a 3rd-degree burn on top of one of my little middle toes. It don't feel good, and it was stuck inside my shoe too. But it's telling me to go ahead and prepare the heat set inserts and everything for the, I guess this would be the tool head mount. So what I'm going to do is, I may just go ahead and skip on over to the unclicky tap, or the tap mod that I have, and maybe go ahead and get that started. That way I'll have that prepared with the linear rail on it and everything. That way I can have it mounted up for the printer, and everything's ready to go once I get the X gantry prepped. So I believe I'm going to need this little piece right here. It's in the start of my video. Let me get into the toy box here. I got all. Probably gonna need that jewel. You're not wrong about that. I'm still cleaning up sharp shavings from the drilling and tapping last night. Did you do that in your house? Alright, let's see. There's another piece in here I'm missing. It's right there in front of my face. Hey Shawdell, welcome to the stream, buddy. I'm glad to have you in here with me again. So I had to 3D print the unclicky tap pieces, so it called for this little basement. Well, it's in the basement. I wish I had me a nice little basement like man cave, but we do have like a little shed out to the side. Don't even hold a little car, hardly. But I had to clean this up a little bit and just wanted to make sure that it was all functioning, sliding really smooth. I don't know how well this unclicky tap's going to work. I think it's going to work just fine. I've already installed the magnets right there. Yeah, sharp man glitter in between the toes, and it don't feel good neither. I guess man glitter wasn't meant to feel good, so I'll probably need. So actually, what I did, because of me ordering the hardware kit from West 3D Printing, most of the stuff was stainless steel, and I was sure that I probably wouldn't have the correct parts whenever it come to the unclicky tap. And KB3D actually offered a complete hardware kit for the tap, so I purchased that. And it comes, I mean, when you look at the installation manual for the tap, it almost looks like an exploded view of a freaking transmission for a car. It's wild how much stuff goes into just this little component right here all on its own. But this should be everything that I need for the install of the tap. We got M3x10 button head capture screws, M3x6, more M3x6. These are flathead screws, M3x6 socket heads, M3x8. So I think we got everything here that we need. And one thing I don't see is heat set inserts. Huh. Maybe I overlooked them, or maybe I took them out, but I don't see them. So I guess I need to switch my manual over from the actual Voron Trident manual and go on over to the, I've already downloaded the unclicky, or the tap manual anyway, assembly manual. So I'm not sure if is this tap an official release from Voron? I mean, it's documented and everything, but I had to go over to GitHub to get all this stuff. I didn't actually find it from the Voron website. Does anybody know anything about that? Yeah, we live today, Golden Jaguar. I couldn't help myself, man. I had to get in here and work on this thing. I got some spare time in front of me, and sitting around watching everybody else do it, you know, I'd like to just go ahead and do it myself, go on and get mine going. And like I said, I'm trying to document everything as I go along. Glad to have you in here. Glad to have all you guys in here with me. I appreciate y'all being here and showing you support for me. Yeah, that, I don't know if y'all can pick that up on. It's probably, need to figure out some way to get the manual up on my screen here. But this thing looks ridiculous whenever it comes to all the hardware that goes into it. But we're gonna make it work. So I've already downloaded I've already 3D printed all the parts that I need for the tab. I've already separated the carriage from the linear rail. Got it set off to the side. And the first thing it's telling me to do is remove all the support pieces for these parts right here that I have. I've already done all that. And it's telling me to go ahead and glue in these magnets here in these little pieces. And what I had done, like as far as this linear rail goes, the one that injured me. See, I've done lost the thing. What the devil did I do with it? Oh, it's right here. So I'd cut it with a Dremel. I mean, it's not perfect, but I'm sure it'll work just fine. I had to cut some extra off the end of the linear rail, and then I just cut it off. And if this one just seems to not work too well, I still have another 250 millimeters to practice with. But I think this one's going to work just fine. I cleaned it up real good after cutting it. I took a sharpening stone for my knives and just kind of cleaned it up like that. I have some files in here. I went ahead and kind of filed and chamfered the edges. And I actually have these sharpening stones here, and they're like I said in an earlier video, they're not really designed for removing a lot of material. They're just for kind of smoothing, and it made these corners and edges really smooth. And it comes with a nice little angled file or stone, and it gets in this little groove right here just perfect. So there shouldn't be any hangy pieces on this. It's gonna snag any bearings or anything like that. I just got a little bit of Loctite super glue. It calls to add just a little bit of glue into this. I need a couple of these magnets. And it says, let's see this. We got a lot of information right here with this thing. So it says magnet press. Place magnet on a flat surface. Polarity doesn't matter. Okay, so that was the first question that I had in my head was, does the polarity even matter? Place a drop of CA glue on the top of the magnet and place magnet holder on magnet. Use a strong flat tool. Firmly press magnet holder down over magnet. Does it look like a strong, firm tool? I'm going to try it out. To be honest, I actually have some real CA glue. Give me 1 second. I got to run in the living room. So this right here is Stuart McDonald CA glue. I'm building a guitar, and I actually have this stuff right here on hand for it. We're going to use it. Hope that wasn't too much. There we go. It's easy enough. And let's go ahead and do the second one. I think this stuff right here, it's like medium, so it's going to dry like really quick. Hopefully some real shoes if you need to cut them off. Yeah, it's funny. I told my wife, I swear I talked that one up. I said, I probably ought to take these Crocs off before I go out here and cut this thing. But I was wearing safety glasses. I was observing eye safety. All right. So we got the magnets in for the unclicky, or the tap. And it's telling me to place the heat set inserts. The heat set inserts will go right in the back of this right here. So let's go ahead and fire up the soldering iron and grab a couple heat set inserts. So this design relies on heat inserts. Make sure you have the proper inserts. Check the hardware reference for a close-up picture and the bill of materials for dimensions. If you never worked with heat inserts before, okay, you don't need that. Maybe. Might need it. Let's see. Music ain't too loud this time, like the background music or anything like that. I like having that in there because it breaks up the moments of silence where I might not be paying attention to the chat or even talking. And again, I'm just setting my soldering iron to the same temperature that I extruded the ABS at. Letting it heat up. And it's instantly at the temperature I need it at. I kind of like pressing them in real slow. It makes me feel a little bit more confident about it being sitting in there nice and snug. I've seen where I've had it happen to me actually, where if I got the temperature too hot and I press it in there and then I pull the iron out, it kind of, it's like the plastic when it's cooling, it shrinks back down and just has the heat set insert just jump right back out at you. This way right here, as soon as I pull the iron away, I just let the iron heat it up. Seems like it just goes right down in there. Eases on down in there nice and slow. And I got a good set. And we're going to do some more. This is tap upper. So I think it gets two more on the bottom. We're going to be doing heat set inserts for days. I know Steve Builds was sitting there doing a live stream, and I stepped into it for a minute, and I didn't really want to schedule my stream while he's doing his. But at the same time, like I said, just watching somebody else doing it and knowing this is all the time that I got, I'd like to just go ahead and be working on mine myself. Try to utilize as much time that I have available to me as much as possible. Alright, so that's done. Now we're on to this piece. We get 2 heat set inserts. I got to get a better camera for my top down view for sure. I can tell it looks a little. Is that really blurry to y'all? It looks really blurry to me on the screen, but I'm putting 2 heat set inserts in these 2 little spots right here on this one. I swear, between the caffeine and energy drinks, I need to quit. Alright, so that's in. And calls for 2 heat set inserts. You use low temperature like me for heat inserts, and hold a flat piece of metal on top of it once it's in place to make sure it stays flat against the surface. Yeah, I mean, it seems like to me that they don't really want to jump back out. They don't want to back out at all once I get done. Once I pull the heat away from them, just using the lower temperature. I mean, yeah, it might take a little bit longer to set them in there, but like I said, I kind of feel like it gets in there a little better. But yeah, gotta put 2 in these 2 bottom slots right here. Be kind of hard to, these 2 that go in here, you definitely wouldn't be able to smash them against a flat surface. Take that one on down just a little bit further. Looks pretty good. I tell you what, guys, this is a lot of fun. I can see how this could be very addictive to people. But I really don't have a need for all these other printers, but it'd be a lot. I can see how you'd about want to build them all. It's kind of like the drones. Whenever I first got into them, I wanted to build them all. Still want to. Alright, so these little small pieces that hey, my baby's in here. These little small pieces that I put the magnets in, they also get a heat set insert into the side. Guys, ain't nothing like having a wife that supports you. Couldn't be more thankful. I learned an awful lot too while 3D printing all this stuff for this build. I mean, definitely give me a lot of good ideas and things like that for future designs for my drones and things like that. Let's see, it shows one more, but I don't think I actually have this. Yeah, I think it shows like one more going in. I think that's got to do with the power control board for the optical sensor, but I'm not using that. I actually have to install 2 screws down in here and stick some little wires in and all that. I don't think I'm ready for that at the moment. Believe I'm done with the heat set inserts. All I was trying to do as far as the tap mod was go ahead and get it prepared for whenever I get the gantry built, the X gantry built, to be able to attach this piece right here. It has to be attached to the rail. Safety Crocs. Yep. I don't know what happened there. Alright, it says inserting hex nuts can often be helped along by using longer screw to draw the nut into the cup, then removing the long screw and using an M3x6. Correctly inserted, there's a cone access hole to allow you to insert these heat set inserts to the correct depth. I would say they're probably maybe they may be where they need to be. Let's see. I'm gonna kind of skip over some of this stuff. What I'm after at the moment right now is just to go ahead and get this linear rail attached to it, because once I put this onto the X axis, I won't be able to access this point right here, and I kind of had the foresight to see that. And I think everything else I'll probably be able to go ahead and assemble off the printer and get it all put together whenever I start building the stealth burner and everything like that. What I'm trying to get to is the belting part, and the belts have to attach via the x-axis with this. So need to back up a little bit. The M3 hex nut is what I'm looking for right now. There we go. M3 hex nut. So something that I'd seen somebody else do. They were actually, I think it was Nero 3D. He was actually trying to pull the hex nut through with a screw, like it talks about in the assembly manual. And he wound up popping out this whole center because it's just a really, really thin piece of plastic right there. I'm going to try to avoid doing that. I don't really want to pull it through with the screw and wind up breaking stuff. So I'm going to try to leave it flat with the, I don't think that's going to work too well either. Maybe it will work. Just have to be very careful. Be mindful of it for sure. So I need my linear rail. These things are dangerous. It says I need a M3 by 6 socket head capture screw and an M3 by 8 socket head and one M3 by 12 and a heat set. And it shows this heat set insert. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. It's going to clear up. Oh no. Just trust me whenever I say it has a little lid right there to kind of help it whenever you set it down in the hole. That actually goes towards the head of the socket head screw here. We're just going to put that on like so. I'm going to leave that so I don't drop it in the floor. And I'm going to put the prettier side of the rail cut towards the top. And this just screws right into that heat set that I put in there. So the one with the heat set goes at the very bottom. And that's what the carriage sets on. And then it's the M3 by 8 in the middle. And hopefully I don't break the top plastic piece. whenever I go to pull that through. Is the one in my pick a 200 HP motor on it, and it can go pretty fast. So are you into fishing, Shawdale? Because we do a lot of fishing when our boat ain't broke. Need an M3x6 socket head screw. I don't know if it's long enough to get a bite on it. I have to use one just a little bit longer. Yep. Yeah, I don't trust this too well, fellas. Now I got the rail up against it. Now that I have the rail up against it right here, maybe it'll be a whole lot easier to go ahead and push that on. Possibly work gets in the way a lot of fun. But we have to do it, right? Let's see. So there's no forcing that in there by hand, that's for sure. So I'm gonna try to pull it through with a longer screw. And I think it actually said that. I think it suggested that on up in the top of the manual somewhere. The M3x6 wasn't near enough to really get a bite on it. So we'll try a little bit longer screw here. See if that'll get a nice little bite on this hex nut and pull it on up. Cranked yours down and it was fine. Okay. You wanted to sell your wife? No way. Absolutely no way I could sell my wife. Too amazing. So you've done the Nick, you've done the tap already on yours, the tap mod? And I've got it nice and flush there, so it's not gonna interfere with the carriage. And we're just gonna snug these on up a little bit better. And I think that's gonna be just fine. So there we have the rail assembly ready to go. And I'll probably just go ahead and put these little magnetic pieces in for right now too. That way they're so small they get lost so easy. So we'll go ahead and install these. And I think the one with the single spacing, I believe it's supposed to go on one side. Heat set inserts are facing the linear rail. Same thing here. You got one that's got two little notches on the side of it. It goes on the left and it just slips right down in there. And then it calls for an M3 by 10 button head capture screw, wherever that is, right here, M3 by 10, and it also calls for an M3 washer. So I'll go ahead and get these placed in there. That way I don't lose these later on in the build. My wife is an awesome cook. I mean, amazing cook. She don't realize it, or maybe she does. She definitely won my belly over. All right. See, I'm already trying to lose one. And I need a little bit smaller hex driver here and be fine for right now. That one's way too big. And for right now, I'm just going to kind of loosely snug that up. KB3D free advertisement for LOS. Chris should be sponsor your channel. Yeah, okay. Free advertisement for KB3D. Hey, I tell you what, they actually, everything I've gotten from them, I've been kind of impressed with. And they're right out of Ohio, I think, so they're pretty close by the house here as well. You asked if you look. There you go, buddy. North Carolina, Shawdale. Great country of North Carolina. Let's see. All right, so I think I'm pretty well happy with what I have right here, and everything's buttoned up like it needs to be. The biggest thing was wait, you decided to go with that? Yeah, that's what I was saying. I went with the I 3D printed a Voron stealth burner, and I decided to go with this is going to be the unclicky tap. It's on down in the documentation when you read about it. It actually doesn't use a sensor or anything like that. It actually just uses like two little screws. I don't know if you've seen it, Golden Jaguar, but it actually uses two little screws with wires attached to it, and all it is just a little I guess whenever it taps, it must just break the circuit, and that's pretty much your signal to your board, is what I'm thinking. No, I couldn't find the optical sensor at all. Nowhere. I mean, I went to I think it was like DigiKey. Went to several different sites, and then after I decided to go ahead and go and 3D print all the stuff for the unclicky tap mod, then I actually came across Matter Hackers, and they only had them in for a couple of days. It was the actual full Voron tap kit. That's 3D printed parts and everything. They had it all for sale, and I mean, I didn't need to buy it. I already had all the parts I needed. So now I'm gonna go back into the Trident assembly manual. And at the start of the X-axis assembly, it's telling me to do some more heat set inserts for the cable change. So it gets 2 heat set inserts up here at the very top. Go ahead and throw them in real quick. They're doing the untap. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if you read the documentation on down in the bottom, it talks about a unclicky tab. Is what it says. It's what they call it. To me, that saved money on the optical sensor. I mean, I know it's not a lot, but like I said, we just kind of tried to save as much as I could wherever I could. However, like I said, if it would have been available to me, I probably would have just went on with the optical sensor, maybe even bought a whole kit and went that route with it, but it wasn't available. Plus, I was hearing people's had problems with the optical sensors, burning them up or something like that, is what I'd seen. Okay. Make sure I don't have any more heat set inserts before I cut my iron off. I don't think I need any. I'm going to wind up needing the rest of my bearings and other 3D printed parts. Yep. So I think we're ready to move on with assembling the X gantry. Very nice. And we're going to be doing the right XY joint. Let's get back into the parts bin here. So I know I'm going to be needing that at some point in time, but not right now. This is the one I'm after. It actually has the little channel in it for the wiring. I think that's for the limit switches. And there's the top piece to it. It has the little hole in it for the wiring there. So those are the 2 parts I'm looking for. We'll go ahead and get this one out for the other side because I know I'm going to need it. And now I need some M5 by 40 socket head capture screws. I need these bearings and M5 shims. So I'd heard some other guys talking in another chat in a thread or whatever. They were like, hey, shims and spacers are completely different. Well, all they sent me with the complete hardware kit from West 3D Printing was 1mm spacers. I didn't see any shims. I heard people say there's a difference. I don't know. So it's telling me to put the bolt. Let's see. Wish that camera was a little better. Right through this hole right here. And we'll flip her upside down. So basically what we're doing is building a bearing stack. Printed parts for the right XY joint have a small channel to guide the end stop wires. So this is the correct one. Again, I can tell that these spacers are stamped. I turned the rough end toward the plastic. I don't want to face my bearing. It just makes me feel a little better knowing that it's not going to be rubbing the sidewall of the bearings, the bearing shield. Flange side down, one bearing, flange side up, two bearing, and then another M5 shim. Again, I'm looking at it and saying, alright, it's stamped, it has a smooth side, and one side it seems like it could cut into that little sidewall, that bearing, and I just face it up. I like Golden Jaguar's idea of using the washers are not accurately sized. Okay. Huh. Oh, thank you, baby. Special delivery. So, I lost my train of thought. Oh, I like Golden Jaguar's idea of, I guess there's an issue with these, oops. There was an issue with these bearings where maybe the belts tend to ride up on the little lips there. That'll be something I definitely want to look into, I guess, as far as upgrading in the future to what he suggested. And I need an M5 nut. M5 hex nuts. And these probably are not going to stay in here for nothing, more than likely. So, Nick, are the shims, are they accurately sized? Okay. So, shows this setting like this, and for some reason it's pointing out to me to really pay attention to this hole right here. If I had to guess, and it's probably not a good idea to guess, It's a little confusing how this goes together. Probably like, no, that can't be it. And that feeds just like that. So your actual hex nut's going into this place right here. Makes sense. And I don't want to lose none of these. I'm sure KB3D gave me the right ones. So these spacers right here are actually from West 3D Printing. So I ordered some of my stuff from KB3D. I ordered some of it from West 3D Printing. I wasn't sure who would be the best distributor, I guess, to buy all this stuff from. I know I didn't want to sit down and go through that whole bill of materials and have to order each one of these screws and all this stuff like that and pick through them and make sure I got the right ones and whatnot, or had everything I needed. It was kind of nice to be able to have everything in one place to be able to order. M3 by 40 or M5 by 40 socket head capture screws, and I need a GT2 20-tooth idler. And sorry, I might blow you guys' ears out. The accuracy is more important with the idlers. Okay. So these idlers right here, this is like a little kit, and this is a motion kit that came from West 3D Printing. It's called POW GE. The belts do say Gates belts, so I believe that they're genuine Gates belts, which is what the bill of materials calls for. So I hope I got to correct everything. Yeah, for right now, I'm not really tightening anything up really, really tight. Just kind of loosely getting it all fitted together. So here's my GT. Bet that goes right here. Yep. And what holds it in place is it says don't over tighten. The bolt is used to position the idler and is bolted directly into plastic. Okay. And I seen a discussion about this the other day too, which was really interesting. They were talking about the Golden Jaguar and Build It Basement was talking about the play in between all this stuff like this right here. So they must have threads. Kind of bottoms out and it just lets it spin freely. I like it. Works for me. Guess I could go ahead and tighten these up. It didn't say nothing about not tightening those, so go ahead and button these down a little bit better. And I don't want to get too crazy with this one. And I believe that's it. It says check my work. It looks just like the picture. So everything's spinning freely. Looks good. I'll take it. So I'm gonna set this to the side, and we're probably gonna wind up going on to the next one. Yep. You can buy smooth 2GT idlers from Pouch. Yes, I love their idlers. Pouch is the good ones. Okay, good deal. I guess I did good then. I got the good ones. All right, so this is kind of weird. So it shows the bearing assembly going on this thing. This bolt just kind of laying in there like that. And we're going to build a bearing stack on that. Interesting. And I'm going to wind up needing another one of these idlers. So, Golden Jaguar, are these the, would these be the idlers that you would suggest to go back into the, for the idlers for the front? Is that what you were suggesting the other night? They do have a pretty good lip right there on them. I think that would do a lot better for holding the belts in and keeping them from riding over these bearings. Ouch. Oh, smooth. I see what you're talking about. They don't have the won't have the little teeth in them for the belts to ride on. Sorry at the Poor Boy Channel. I have to run and get ready for your show in 25 minutes. All right, thank you for stopping by at the First Layer, and like I said, I just couldn't help myself but get in here. I hate missing you guys' streams and stuff, yours and Steve Bill's. I enjoy watching you guys, and I appreciate everything you've done, you know, for the channel thus far, as far as like pushing me out there to people and everything. It means a lot to me, and keep doing what you do, brother. And I'll probably have to stop in and check out what you got going on here in a little bit. Alright, so that gets a washer, flange side down. You want the smooth ones where it's going along the smooth back of the belt. Okay, I got you. The longer the lip is good, you think. Alright, bearing up, and another shim, spacer, shim. And M5 hex nuts. No, thank you, bud. For real. I appreciate all you guys do. Absolutely. I think that's what I love about YouTube so much is there's a lot of great wealth of information out there, and people doing just like I do, or I'm trying to do right here, is just kind of share what I've learned as well to help the next guy along. I think that's really, really great. I swear something don't seem right with this. That's what it's showing me. And I do believe that's going to be right up in there. So the screw's actually feeding into this thing right here. And I'm pretty sure you don't want to over tighten this one either, because this one's actually the bearing stack. So we're just going to kind of snug that together, back it up a little bit. move on to the next, which is telling me to add 2 more M5x40 socket head capture screws. Thing looks like it lines up really good. Torque that on down just a little bit, and let's see, that'll be good there. And now we need this pulley here, and it gets another M5x40 socket head capture screw. That just sits like so, and this goes. Just like that. You over tighten your bearing stacks and it added a ton of friction. Wow. Alright, so I mean they feel kind of free, this one does. So definitely want to be careful of that. Says don't over tighten. The bolt is used to position the idler and is bolted directly into plastic. The idler must spin freely. Compare your simple part to the graphic. Same thing as before. Rinse and repeat. So I'm just gonna screw that down till I feel it kind of hit the bottom, and I would say that's free because it's just kind of, it's able to ride up and down there. It's pretty free in there, and that one feels nice and smooth. So I believe we have that ready. So now I need to get the go ahead and get the rail prepared here. Going to need some, and this is the E extrusion. It calls out in the beginning of the manual. I'm going to need some M5 T-nuts. Need 4 of these M5 T-nuts. These are M3 T-nuts, and it calls for, it's like 6 M3 T-nuts. 4 of those. 6. And 2 more M5 T-nuts. With a total of 6 M5 T-nuts. Okay, so shows the hole facing towards the outside of the extrusion for this top piece here. So 1, 2. 3 and 4. So there's that. Flip it over on its side. It looks like in the drawing. Now we're going after the M3 T-nuts. 3 of them, the holes are facing towards this end of the extrusion. So we go 1, 2, and 3. Well, glad that didn't scrape the powder coating off of it. Would have been ugly. And 3. So now I got 6 M3 T-nuts positioned in here. And let's see. That. And I guess the last 2 go on the bottom there. And these, both ends, one end's facing towards the end of the extrusion, the other one, the hole closest to the end of the T-nuts, facing towards the outside of that extrusion. So there that is. And now we need a carriage. What do I do with it? Right there under my face. And I'm also going to need the 3D printed. I literally just saw them too. The 3D printed carriage mount. And these are going to be the ones for, oh yeah, they're over here in this box. And these are the 2 3D printed MGN12 or MGN12H carriage mount pieces, and it calls for M3x8 socket head capture screws. They give you a ton of these M3x8 socket head capture screws. You must use them an awful lot throughout this build. So this one slides really freely, so I need to be very careful with this one, or I could have one heck of a mess on my hands. Let's see. My cutters. And it says, mind the carriage, temporarily secure the carriage in piece with a piece of sticky tape to prevent it from sliding off the rail. Dropping the carriage likely damages it. Use the MGN12 guides and position the rail. Fastening and securing screws. My thing is making sure I get these exactly where they need to go. I guess it doesn't. Just kind of leave it loose, maybe. 2. That one goes there. Just get them somewhat close for now. Get the screws put into place. Then maybe I can slide it back and forth. So I guess it don't get none in the middle. Guess that's enough. M3x8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Just kind of loosely get these started for right now. Go ahead and slide these on up. Uh-oh. Might have a problem. Oh, no we don't. Third the MGN9s in that box. These are the 12s right here. I have them set off to the side. Getting a little worried there for a minute. Let's go ahead and get these somewhat centered. And just trying to get these screws started. There we have it. So now I just kind of want to leave this a little loose at the moment. Make sure all these are kind of loose. I don't want them too tight because I want to do some adjusting here. I want to see what the distance is. Looks like I pretty much got it about the same. I need to bump over just a hair. That looks good. Yeah, I'll take that. Looks great. Go ahead and snug this thing on down. When you actually tighten the rail to the extrusion, start from the middle and work outwards. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. I find it kind of odd that there's, you got two right here that just don't get nothing. But I guess all it needs is 6 of them. That's all it called for. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth, about like I would do a cylinder head on a car, I guess. Observing the, I guess you could say the rotation there. So going this side, jump over here, over there, right there, and there, and nice and smooth. Okay, so now it's telling me to bring in. That looks like the one that doesn't have the, this is going to be the left side. So I'm turning it back up like so, and this is just going to slide. Looks like it might line up pretty good like that. Yeah, no. So I guess this just bottoms out right here. You leave a little bit of a gap, lightly tighten the bolts, and it calls for 2 M5x10 button head capture screws. Well, hello E-Rawers. Did I say that right? E-Rawers? New to the channel, enjoying the info. How accurate do you need to be? Asking in regards to building a 3D printer. Yeah, that's kind of my question, like how accurate do I need to be? You probably need to be, I mean, if you want it to print really accurate, I guess you would want it, I'll tell you like Steve Builds tells his viewing audience, your printer is only going to be as solid as the build. So if you slap one together, you kind of get out of it what you put into it, I'm sure. More than likely. M5x10 button head capture screw. When he was measuring the end distances in the part he was putting together. Oh. Yeah, that was a good one. Good question. I'm not 100% sure. I think it called for a M5 by 30 button head capture screw and 2 M5 by 10s. I mean, for the most part, it was pretty well spot on. We can double check it though, just to make sure. After I tightened it down, it could have shifted a little bit. If we wanted to be really accurate, let's see if I can find it. I just had it yesterday. And it should be laying right here. And it's not. Frame alignment of the rails to each other is the most important. I don't know where my caliper is, fellas. I literally just had it yesterday. It's another one of them things. Here, let me show you. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Right there. Yeah, we want to see how accurate we are, or how close it is. We can get her dialed in pretty dang good. So right there's 1521. It's 1534. I mean, so Nick, you built several of these. You think it's going to make much of a difference there? Or Golden Jaguar, if he's still in the chat. Now I'm having this OCD kicking in, so now I'm going to have to dial it in. I was being lazy when it come to measuring the ends there. It probably would be a good idea to be pretty accurate on this part right here. You don't think so? You'll find out when you put the plastic pieces on the end. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, because I know that, like, they say to leave this part loose. That way whenever you attach it to the printer, you kind of slide it back and forth and let it settle in and square up and all that before you tighten everything down. So that's why I really was kind of pretty lackadaisical about it. But now I've done loosened everything back up. Got me going. I'm wanting to fix it. We'll make it really nice and perfect. So I'm seeing a 1547 on that side. And a 1532 on this one. So let's bump her that way just a touch, if it'll let me. I might have went too far. 1553. And we're 1537 on this side. Right there. $15.42, and I was $15.40 on the other side. I'd say that's close enough. It's good enough for me. we're just gonna snug these on up, working from the inside out. My thing would be, like, if you was like really wanting to worry about accuracy, I would think you would probably be worried more about like I guess you could say like the linear rail, you know, because whenever you're tightening these things down, I'm sure that it does create little variations in it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a 3D printer. I mean, these things right here are pretty dang accurate. Let's see. Or as accurate as they're going to be. And I need 2 M3 M5 by 10 button head capture screws. So, E. Rowers, what brought you to the channel? And Nick as well. I've seen Nick in other 3D printers, platforms and stuff, forums or not forums, but chats and stuff like that. Some of the other guests I have on, but I don't know if I've seen you before. You need the M5 by 30 button head capture screws and an M5 shim or spacer. Sorry, I asked because I'm going to be building a Voron Trident printer yourself. Hey man, go for it. This is a lot of fun. I don't know if you've ever built a 3D printer before, but I would recommend it for sure. Alright, now I said leave these lightly tightened bolts. So I'm going to leave these kind of loose. Not really getting them too tight. So there's that side. I'll probably go ahead and take this thing right here off. I don't think the carriage is going to come off now. Off that side anyway. And jumping over to the other side here. And this is just going to slide this on right here. I'd say surely that's not going to slide all the way up to where it butts up really tight, because it's cutting into the wire channel right there. So you probably wouldn't want it slid that far over. Okay, Nick. Yeah, I've been in a few of Nero's. Dang, off my knee. A few of Nero's streams, just chit chatting back and forth. People. So I'm going to set that to the gap that's right there, as far as that goes. Probably wind up having to adjust it again here in a little bit. And the same thing here, I believe. It says leave loose, lightly tighten the bolts. Leave loose again. So it's already telling me to go ahead and put the M5 by 30 in the bottom of this one with the shim. just lightly tighten that one. Guys, we've just about got us an X gantry built. Kind of glad I started this up today, just to get that much further along with the build. So as it stands right now, I've got all my motors on, less the motors, or the motor for the stealth burner. So I'm just going to leave this kind of loose. It's not real tight. It could fall off pretty easy. And there's our X carriage assembly. I think it's going to be a really sharp looking printer. What size did you decide to go with, E-Rawers, as far as your build? See, I need M3 by 16 socket head capture screws, and now I need the 3D printer up here. So we're getting ready to go ahead and attach this baby on here. Awesome. M3 by 16s. Don't be sorry unless you try to cut a linear rail with Crocs on. Closed-toe shoes are strongly advised. Absolutely. Friends, do not let friends cut linear rails with Crocs on. Ask me how I know. A 350 by 350 by 250. So it's still going to have the same Z travel height as this one, because this is a 250 right here. So it'll still have the Z travel. I bet that thing's going to be wide. It's a big build plate. Awesome. And I think it's wanting me to go ahead and attach this. Yep, that's what it's telling me to do. Very cool. The big one. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, it seems to be I think it's going to be a pretty popular printer. So let's see, it's showing me to put in two. Yeah. So it shows to go ahead and put two on the back side. I wonder, I think it would be easier for me to do this if I turned it upside down. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go ahead and spin it upside down here. Wind up attaching it backwards, probably. Might not have to do that. Let's see here. Let's just get one started on each side of the carriage here, and then put the rest on in a little bit. Just to get it holding on. There we go. There's that one. So I guess right here is where you'd figure out if you need to slide these out a little bit further or not. Get them to line up with the holes. It's definitely not dented, and I don't think I got it slid out far enough. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it upside down. That's probably gonna be my best bet. I think the LDO started selling longer steppers with integrated lead screws, so you can get higher Z height in the Trident. Okay, very nice. The flatness of the surface helps you make as square as possible. Yes, sir. E-Rars, this little flat surface right here, it really helped tremendously, and I was fortunate enough to pick this little slab right here up off of a job site. Somebody had thrown it out on the ground, and I do grading for a living, so somebody had carried it out to the job site. It must have been a broken countertop or something, and just throwed it out, and the guys were running all over it with a bulldozer, but I found a pretty good sized piece. I could cut a nice piece to work off of, so we took our concrete saw and cut me a nice little square out of it, and I brought it home and cleaned it up. And yeah, it's for the precision flat surface. I showed earlier on in the first build video, I was just kind of using this little corner of this square to square it up, and I will say that the LDO frame, all the extrusions were really nice and flat, and everything seemed to match up really well. It was really easy to square up. And using this little surface right here made it even easier. Build on a carpet or a curved surface, it could get all out of the way. I bet it could. Yeah, and even like this desktop right here that I'm using, I'm sure it's pretty flat, but I would say that it's not going to be as flat as I would like for it to be, because it could probably have a little bit of a bow in it. Yeah, so I'm definitely seeing why you leave these somewhat loose here, and I thought I'd left them loose, but not loose enough, I guess. So we're gonna have to slide some things around. I'm gonna go ahead and get one started here, and one started here. We're gonna slide this thing on over just a little bit. Yeah, I had a little too snug. It said lightly tighten. I lightly tightened it. I guess it didn't mean my kind of lightly tighten. slide that blame loose does it need to be? That's all the way loose there. So it ought to slide. There we go. We're starting to line up some. Loosen this side up a little bit. Had it too tight. So I should be able to get a screw in there now, hopefully. There we go. I felt it slide that time. It wasn't wanting to slide with me. So I guess it wants this lightly tightened too, probably. And I thought I'd grabbed out enough screws for this. I think it only shows like 2 in the back. Right here. In the front. I know it's got to get this little pod right here for the. It's got to get the little pod for the limit switches. Yeah, it shows 2 at the back. Actually, and 4 on this side right here. Says the other 2 bolts will be installed later. Missing some bolts. The other 2 will be installed later. Okay. 10-4. So we'll go ahead and we can put all 4 of these in. And just kind of lightly and loosely. I'm not gonna tighten it all the way up yet, I don't think. I think it has to be left loose for de-racking, so to speak. And we'll go ahead and flip this thing back on its top. Sounds smooth. Don't look like it's binding up or anything like that. And I think it tells me I'll probably wind up having to take it all the way to the back and then snug everything up. Is what needs to happen. But as far as right now, it's not telling me to tighten anything up. It wants me to put this little piece right here that we prepared for the cable chain. It wants me to put that on there. I need 2 M5 by 16 button head capture screws. It is coming along nicely, Golden Jaguar. I'm loving it. I'm enjoying every minute of this thing. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to build. It really is. lot of fun. Let's see. Alright, so what the heck's going on here? So I guess I need to remove these two up top and replace them with the 16s, because I think it had me put 10s in that. It might have told me to leave them out earlier and I just put them in there, being the big dummy I am sometimes. But those are definitely smaller. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I can't wait to get to the electronics and all that stuff. Go ahead and get all those things mounted in. So yeah, it's telling me squaring the gantry. It says move the gantry all the way to the back until it hits A and B drive sides. Fully tighten all screws on the X-axis. So let's do it. So it's all the way back. It's bumping. Go ahead and hit these top ones here that I just put in. Give them a nice little snuggeroo. Snug these. And I think I got one or two at the bottom here to snug. Just trying to make sure it stays held up against the back there. Tries to slide out on me, throw anything out of whack. Snug that on down, and now we're after. Go ahead. It says all on the X assembly, so we're going to get these bottom ones too that are going into the carriage, the carriages for the rails. Let's snug them up as well. Say it's probably gonna be where it's gonna be. Let's see. Oh, she's smooth. Yes, very smooth. Yeah, sounds good too. Like it. I'll take that. Looks good, fellas. I think it'll work. The dog's gonna hunt. The Voron Legacy is a modernized design true to the spirit of the original Voron 1.0. Very nice. Okay, so where are we at now? Oh lordy. Belting ain't fixing to be easy. Got to do the belts. So this ought to be really interesting because I have never done this before. It looks like they give me enough to make a mess. Hopefully I don't. Let's see, I think these were M5 by 10s. I don't want to get them mixed up or lost, so I'm going to kind of slide these over here back into place. So for the guys in the chat that doesn't know, Jenny E, she's my beautiful wife, and she is here in full force in support of me and my channel. And when we get big enough, maybe might have to make her a moderator so she can zap the what do they call them, the spam bots or whatever. Yeah, I think it's gonna be just fine. So it gives me an overview of the Voron belt path. It says Voron printers use belt path based on the popular Core XY pattern. That's what drawn me to these printers big time, was that Core XY. I really like that. And I think the switch wire is like a Core XZ. And I'm going to be probably eventually converting that printer, my old Ender, over to a switch wire. So that's a future build for sure. The individual belt paths are stacked on top of each other, and the crossing often found in Core XY designs is omitted. Compared to many other implementations, the motors are moved to a less intrusive position. Equal belt tension is important to the proper function of a Core XY motion system. We recommend to run one belt to get it the required length, remove the belt from the printer, and cut the second belt to the exact same length as both the belt paths have the same length. This is an easy way of getting a consistent tension. So, another question that I'd asked somebody as well, I probably would want to, since these are the tensioners right here, seeing as how those are the tensioners for the belts, I would probably want to have just a little bit of adjustment to back off and loosen them up too. I wouldn't want to have so much to where I don't have any adjustment to back off. And it doesn't talk anything about that in the manual. Does that make sense? And I haven't heard anybody talk about it anywhere. But I'm going to go ahead and might just try to give myself plenty of travel to be able to get a lot of tension on the belt if I need it. Maybe just a couple millimeters or something like that to we're just going to give it just keep those at the back. Okay. Alright, 10-4. You know more about it than I do, Golden Jaguar. I'm glad somebody answered that question for me. Because I had asked it and it never really got answered. And I was like, it seems like to me I would want to leave them a little bit of play in them. But I don't know enough to be 100% certain. That way you have the full travel. Okay, yeah. Because the belts tend to stretch and all that. I know that's where I was having a problem with my Creality printer. It started doing really bad layer shifts and I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. And then I just happened to reach up there and feel it has a belt system on this. Let's see, I'm gonna pull up this other camera. But it has a belt system back here on my X Travel, and that was running really loose. And once I tightened it back up, I was able to get all my Voron parts printed off of it with no problems after that. Very nice. Okay, so where to start? So it gives you a really good overview and layout of the belt paths. And this is where the Lazy Susan, I think, is probably going to come in handy big time. Just to be able to spin this thing on around and get straight here to the back and looking at it. Instead of having to rotate it all around, pick it up, and manhandle it. So, probably want to go ahead and get this attached up here because I'm going to be putting the belt on that. Yep. That's why I went ahead and those look really good, man. Great job. Hey, I appreciate it, buddy. Yeah, I've been pretty surprised with the outcome of it so far. It's looking really good. And that was the reason why I went ahead and got this ready this morning, because I figured I'd probably get to this point right here and I would need it. It looks like it's going to fit in there just fine. So I'll need this part, and I need to switch back over to my tap manual real quick. Assembly manual. I think it's this one. No, wrong one. Trident. Then lost it. Maybe it's this one. Yep. Alright. So I found the right one. Need to know what screws, and I think this one gets like screws and washers. Yeah, getting the belts through is easier if you can move it around easy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. When I seen DeWitt 3D Canada using that Lazy Susan, I was like, I got to steal that idea. That's freaking amazing. If I'm gonna do this, that's gonna make it easy. Or easier. It's hard enough as it is, so anything you can do to probably make it a little easier on yourself, I'd definitely do it. So I'm just kind of looking through the manual here and seeing what it's going to tell me. Oh, here we go. So when I go to attach this thing to the gantry, M3x6 button head capture screws, it doesn't show any washers. Where does the washers come in at? I know I've seen them. Is that the ones that actually go? Oh, okay, yeah, that's where it's going. So we're not ready for that yet. So this one just gets M3x6 button head capture screws, and I'm going to leave them kind of loose. That way I can slip the belts in behind them. So I'm gonna kind of leave that just hanging there a little loose for right now. Just put a couple screws in it just to kind of hold it in place. Hoping I'm leaving, oh yeah, leave enough room for the belts to just kind of slip in behind it. That should be more than enough room. And onto the fun stuff. So it's telling me that I need to run the belts. I need to get back to. Says, yeah, getting the belts through is easier. Tap makes securing the belts much easier too. Oh, okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad I took the easy road on that because I'm over here. I'm like, this is going to be interesting. I need to get back to my Trident manual. Get back to the belts. So I think the stealth burner was being a little ambitious today. I would say that's probably like just a whole day in itself, more than likely. Who knows? It's a big project. It really is. All right, where we at, man? Where's the belts? There we go. It says A belt routing, follow the path pointed out by the arrows with needle nose pliers, tweezers, or similar tools can help. So it's kind of telling me to start out towards the back of the machine back here at the A. It says follow the path. Or no, actually that's the A. Or no? Huh. You know what? I'm just going to run them. I think I can figure it out. I'm going to have it all twisted up. Alright, so I know that this is a pulley here. Wow, that just kind of slides right on up in there. Okay, I can see it coming through there. Yeah. Okay, so I actually have some really fine tweezers around here. I got a pick. I got another small pair of tweezers too, somewhere. Crazy part about all this is you got to do it twice. I'd have to say that this right here seems like to me this is probably the hardest part of it. One of them. Maybe. Oh, look at that. Look at how that just came on right out of there. Alright, so where's this go? Does this go all the way? This goes through here. And towards the back, maybe? About to find out. One thing I didn't make sure of, which I probably should have. Does it matter that it's upside down? I want it to be upside down. Yeah, it'll be alright. I guess this just kind of feeds through back here. I'm gonna let the pulleys tell me where to put this. I might be making a major mistake by doing so. Okay. Look at the top-down view at least. So I'm already through. Thanks for the stream, brother. Gotta run and go. Got some studying to do. I hear you, man. Well, hey, I appreciate you stopping in, Golden Jaguar, and chilling with me. I'm probably gonna be here beating my brain against the wall for a little bit, trying to figure out how to get these belts run through here. But again, I appreciate your company and your help, and have a good study session. Yep, this might already be going backwards with it, fellas. No, it's going right. Yeah, these belts are definitely confusing. Upside down, Steve Builds cares about having the writing on the belts the right way. Yeah, it's kind of like an OCD thing for me too. I don't really want to see it. I mean, it's such a good looking printer. I really don't want to see the writing upside down. To me, it just kind of, it seems like it's half done. But that right there would definitely have me running upside down. So, that being said, I kind of want to do something different. And this shit right here is very confusing. I'm going to pull this back through. Let's get them the right way. I kind of care about them being the right way up too. And this being that Steve Bills actually had a hand in this design, that means the whole belt's been strung completely backwards for me. Because there's no way I could put it in correctly. So I'm going to have to unravel the whole thing. I will, just to be able to get the lettering up the right way. Sure enough. Lots of fun. It ain't that much belt. Yeah, Golden Jaguar, take care of yourself, buddy, and good luck on your studying. What you studying for, if you're still in here? Okay, there we go. Now it'll be up the right way. If I started going this way. You want to do it fully OCD, run the belt to get the right length. take it out so you can cut both belts the same length, and then put it back in the right direction. Yeah, I know. That's what the manual suggests to do. That's a lot. That is and to be honest with you, Nick, that's exactly what I thought about doing. I literally just had to unravel the whole damn blame belt just so I could get it in the right way. This is the aggravating part right here, is just getting it around this little bend and get it coming out the other side of this roller here. Okay, there we go. It's coming through. The good thing about doing it the OCD way is you get a lot of practice. You get a lot of practice with how to get it done right, that's for sure, or rebuilding it. But yeah, that is an awful lot. Here's the part that's really conflicting with me. This makes no sense. This is going to have to connect to the top one. Us guys with big hands are at a disadvantage for this part, absolutely. Oh, okay. Let's see what's going on here. That makes sense. I may not go full OCD with this one. I might run one side and cut it and then go another, but I don't know yet. Belt rides awful close to that's like really close. Shout out, Richard just gave your channel another shout out. Man, that's awesome. I mean, these guys are amazing. I mean, they really are. That's freaking cool. It's nice to have a bigger channel like that, supporting the little guy. All I'm doing is just trying to do me, man. Just being me. Okay, so now we're coming through here. And I don't know where to go from here. So just have to figure it out. Come on out of there, you. Come on out of there, you. Get your butt up out of there. Where do you belong? Good question. Oh, well, that makes sense. Just slid on down in there pretty easy like, huh? Come on. You come out of there, you can go back in the way you come out. Aggravating devil. Gotcha. Okay, so I'd say that this one probably runs through and attaches right there. And that's probably going to be its home. That's what it's looking like in the details here, I think. Or no, it needs to come all the way back up here. Great progress, my friend. Hey, Arkansas FPV, thank you for stopping in and checking me out again today. Yeah, we're moving right along with it, brother. So, yeah, I'm trying to get this thing tidied up. I'm ready to have a really nice 3D printer. I'm gonna be able to print them higher temperature materials. We can get them nice little drone designs started. Started back up. Come on. There we go. All right. So I'm hoping that that's correct in that one. And we'll just slip this on back through here. Like so. Here's the part that's going to be really interesting, is trying to get this thing fed through here. I'm going to have to take it off. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't know if I'm ready to go full-blown OCD on this one. I might just pull the belts through and say that looks good. Let's see, and I imagine that this right here will just cut off like so and attach like that. So I'm going to cut this right about here and hope for the best. And if I messed up, then make more. There that is. Do I really want to pull all that belt out and rerun it? Measure the lengths. It'd give me an accurate enough length for sure. Don't feel like anything's binding up. See the belt's running through the sheet super tight. Just playing around with it. It's wild how this system works. You blows my mind. All right, so do I really want to do this? Not really. I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to start on the next run. And the next goes around back through here, and I'm going to run it around this little pulley right here. Bring it out the back side. Everybody's probably going to say, wow, he's doing that. He is doing that completely ass backwards from what I would have done it. Comes on straight out the back through here, and it looks to me like it has a nice little track follow along here, and this comes on through on that pulley. Build on out around through here. Feed this through the back side of this. Lord, but I don't want to get around the wrong part there. There we go. So let's just pull my little length out. Gonna run straight up through here. I'm gonna feed it through. So, come around on me. Couldn't get so lucky. I was hoping. So I'm gonna have to give it a little direction. It wants me to tell it to do something. Oh, I see it. So what I'm looking for is I'm trying to find the very end of this belt so I can feed it on around. I can feed it on around this little pulley right here. I have a hard time finding it because I can't see it. My lighting is kind of terrible right here. I can get my tweezers in there maybe to ride on up around these. See the belt, getting it started on this pulley is the fun part. The pulley's way back up in there. So let's try this. There we go. There's the end of it. Just found it. Just found you, and look at that. Come out so pretty. And then we're gonna bring it on through this pulley right here, this little idler. Pull out a little extra. So I'm gonna go ahead and put one of these little screws on this side, just to kind of hold that in place. Well, I don't accidentally yank it on through. All right, so there that is, and looks like I think we're good, fellas. I think we're good. And I'm just going to give us a little snip right here. And if I made any mistakes, I got enough belt to go some more. Probably got enough belt to go on around again if I needed to. But she's cut now. I didn't want to go full on OCD, but I did get the lettering up. I think that makes it look really good. Making sure the lettering's right side up. That would probably bother me seeing it run upside down the entire time, especially as nice of a build as this is. So we're going on 5:03 now. We've been going for 2.5 hours now. Moving right along. So Arkansas FPV, you said you ordered your 3D printed parts from West 3D. I think I seen that in Drone Nation today. You're waiting on your 3D printed parts from West 3D Printing. Is that what you had told me? Are you still in here, buddy? I would say that's plenty of belt to, if I break one or maybe if I messed up. Yeah, okay. You just recently order your 3D printed parts, or did you? That's like a waiting process, ain't it? Or do they print them? What I guess like once the order comes in, they print them for you. Because on my little bitty Ender 3, it took me a good month of running this printer pretty hard to get, and I still don't have all the parts that I need to have this as a complete printer. I'll still have to 3D print some more of the parts to complete it, but I have everything ready to go to have a functional 3D printer. So the idea was I get what I need to get the functional parts and get it built. I do have some of the extra, I did keep printing for a little while, but once I get this built, I'll finish printing the rest of its parts on itself, and I may even throw a few over here on this little Creality printer and get them printed up. That way we can get this thing completed. Say West 3D is a 15-minute drive from you. I hear you, buddy. Is that is it like a storefront? You can walk in there and just find all your 3D printer needs. I don't know how I'd handle that. It'd be like having a drone store right close by me. It could be dangerous. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I guess so get some screws in this and like possibly kind of start tightening this up just a little bit. Get it ready for snugging the belts up. You can call them up to pick up online orders. That's freaking cool. Yeah, that could probably be very dangerous for me. It would be dangerous for the bank, for my bank account. Let's see, what was those M3x6 button head screws? I think they were. I'm sure they would let me come by and look at something if I asked nicely. I hear you. Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having a 3D printer shop close by me, that's for damn sure. That way I wouldn't have to wait on nothing. That's the whole aggravating part about delivery systems and stuff. Amazon, or just ordering anything in general, sitting there waiting on the post. Then you worry about your stuff getting lost or damaged or stolen. Nobody wants to deal with that mess. Might have tightened that up a little too much for adjusting. So I've never tightened these belts before, so I don't even know if I'm doing this right. I'm try to get them as tight as I can, I guess, hand tighten. That one seems pretty tight. This one seems, that's a bottom one there. So let's go ahead and see if I can't pull this one up a little bit tighter. Here we go. I feel it slide a notch. See if I can't get another one. That's all I'm going to be able to get. Oh, got one more. And we're going to tighten her on down. Just a little bit. And they feel about the same. So we're going to button her on down. I'm going to button it on down here. Feel somewhat tight, and I got all the adjustment right here, thanks to Golden Jaguar 3D, telling me to get all I can get. And make sure the belts will probably stretch whenever it's breaking in over time. I'm going to just snug everything on down. It feels awful tight, but it looks like everything is riding on the rollers. Might be riding a little high on this one right here. So I think Mike can adjust that a little bit. Looks like it's riding high on that little idler. I don't know if this is going to help it none. There we go. Yep, that centered it up on that one. Haven't ordered from them yet. Probably just stick to West 3D though. They have all I need and are damn good people. Well, that's cool, man. I haven't really had to deal with customer service too much. I mean, I do have a issue, and I mean, I kind of got some parts that were damaged, or my build plate was damaged. I'm not going to blame the rails on them, the bad rail that I was kind of complaining about. I'm not going to say that was their fault, but I don't know what happened with my build plate. But I mean, this thing looks pretty gnarly, and I'm sure if I contacted them, they would probably try to make it right. I've heard they're really good people and really easy to work with. But at the same time, I don't want to deal with the hassle of, dealing with customer service, sending things back and all that. So I'm just going to make it work, and I'm sure it's going to come out all right. I do like KB3D because they are a little bit closer to me, right here in Ohio. I think that's where they're out of. I did do like a little, I guess you could say, like a test run in the beginning. When I started ordering parts, I ordered a little something small from KB3D and something small from West 3D Printing to see who got it here the quickest. And I think West 3D Printing is like out of Portland or Washington. They're plumb on the other side of the states, and they pretty much got their stuff to me just about as quick as KB3D, which was kind of impressive coming from that end of the world. So it appears that we have all the belts in, so we're moving right along. And let's see, it's actually got me going to the bed in the build plate, and I don't think I want to mess with that right now at the moment. I think I want to go ahead and get started on finishing all this stuff up right here. Yeah, right next to Portland, Oregon. Yeah, that's what I thought, because like usually when I order stuff from a vendor or something like that, I always kind of look and just see where my products and things are coming out of. That's the reason why, like when it comes to drone stuff, I like ordering from Race Day Quads or Get FPV, because they're just right here, down south of me in Florida, and I usually get the stuff, really quick. Yeah, the bed could be done later, Nick. And I know that build plate, it adds a little extra weight on it. If I had them guns like Golden Jaguar, I probably wouldn't be too worried about it. So, yeah, I guess I need to move on to. So here's where it's going to get a little off from the normal process of things, because I'm actually doing the unclicky tap, and not only that, I'm also doing the stealth burner. So where to go from here? Yeah, Fabrico is in Florida, and they really, it seems like they're out of everything. I mean, I went looking for the unclicky tap optical sensor, through them, and there's nothing there, and everything else I was looking at, it was like they were out of everything. So I just I give up on it. I might try ordering something from them in the future if I need anything. But as it stands right now, I mean, West 3D Printing and KB 3D, they seem to be the two that I enjoy ordering from at the moment. And not only that, my stepson, he really likes the suckers that West 3D Printing sends to him every time. So yeah, I think I'm gonna slide back over to the manual for the unclicky tap and see if there's anything else that I really need to get prepared. It may be one of those things where I need to probably move on to the stealth burner assembly. I just want to have a quick look at it and make sure, or the Voron tap. So, where I left off in the unclicky, or not, I keep calling it unclicky tap. That's what it is for me. But where I left off in the tap was the actual part where we go ahead and start assembling these pieces right here that I put heat set inserts in. That's where I left off on that. And let's see. I think I can move right along. I can skip on past the optical sensor stuff. I don't know if I'll be able to get to the part where I got to put the wires in later on. That may be something that I'll need to go ahead and do. And the part of me that doesn't really have any experience when it comes to building 3D printers, I wonder if I need to go ahead and run my wires. And don't know how much wire I need. You find a place that treats you right and then you're loyal to a fault. West 3D and Race Day Quads are my go-to places. Race Day Quads are awesome. I mean, the guy, so years ago I had ordered some brand new motors from him. And I got them on a Sunday or Saturday, put them together because I think I had a race coming up. I was into racing them for a little bit, and I'd actually something was faulty with the prop nuts on the motors, and they were actual Race Day Quad motors. And the nylon lock nut on the top, it just kind of popped open like a bottle cap or like a canned drink. So I'd contacted customer service on a Sunday and was talking to some people in the Facebook group, and if the owner himself, I think his name's Tyler, he had reached out to me. And said he'll send them to me right away. What was my order number? And boom, on a Sunday, he sent it out to me. No cost. Got me some brand new prop nuts and everything right to me. So do I have a wire harness? So Nick, I'll show you what I went with on this. Some people might call me a little crazy for doing this, but actually from KB3D I bought the Lineo do-it-yourself wiring kit. They claim that it has everything in there as far as the Voron Trident bill of materials. So again, here I was looking at little kits and things like that to be able to make life a lot easier without having to source all the different frame part sizes, all the different hardware, and shims, screws, and all these things. And I thought this was a neat little way to go too. So I pick this up at some point in time. It has everything. It's got the LEDs in it already for the stealth burner. So I'm gonna have to do all the wiring myself, crimping. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it all. But it actually has the PTFE wiring in it. It should have everything I need. Wago connectors, all that good stuff. That's what I have. They got you by shipping your replacements before I even mailed the returns back. That's some customer service. Yeah, Race Day Quads has. I've never had a problem with their customer service. Never. Yeah, and when it comes to like shipping parts and stuff like that, it's lightning fast for me, you know, because I'm right here in North Carolina. So let's see. Let me set this out of the way for just a second. So I'm trying to figure out where I need to be as far as this tap, Voron tap. Just kind of going along. We done did all the heat set inserts. So yeah, I need 2 M3 by 20 socket head capture screws. Go ahead and get this top part attached. And I think this just kind of, let's see. Oh yeah, okay. This piece just kind of sits. So this piece right here, it's got these 2 little holes that are kind of tapering up. They hit these 2 little holes that are tapering up, and then camera. Then I feed it into the. You should check out some complete wiring kits. You're gonna get a few headaches crimping all that. Hey, I do things the hard way sometimes. You know, I cut my own linear rails, burn my feet. I'm a little hard headed sometimes. Yeah, it's probably gonna be a pain in the butt, and I figure it will be, but it'll be alright. We're gonna make it work. I'm gonna go with it. Now, I don't think that would be anything that would be of any interest at all on a live stream for people to sit there and watch me stretching out wires and cutting them out and all that stuff. I just like the another option is going CAN bus. So, yeah, I was kind of looking at that CAN bus stuff. I do have. I just wonder, like that when you go with the CAN bus, and this is my curiosity in it, because I don't really know enough about it. Oh, so we got a problem here already, fellas. That's definitely not wanting to feed in there too well, and this might be an issue of me using a soldering iron as my heat set insert tool. An alignment issue. But with the CAN bus, it kind of does away with the drag chains a little bit, don't it? These 4 wires to the tool head. We also do essentials on the X, which means you can skip a ton. Wow. Grip everything for your built Pro 3 frame. You crimped everything for your fully built 3 Pro frame. It won't be doing it again. I just wanted it all the exact right length. Not again. That's kind of what the reason why I went with the do-it-yourself kit was because that's what I was looking to do, was to I was noticing that a lot of guys were, as I was watching their build videos and stuff, that they had an awful lot of extra wire left over, and I kind of didn't want to. That doesn't sound good. Kind of didn't want to have to deal with that. It probably means I'm destroying something here. Making new threads. It's tight. Yes, you can use the umbilical to the tool head. So yeah, that's what I kind of like the drag chain, and that was the thing that kind of turned me against the CAN bus. I mean, it didn't turn me against it. It just kind of really wasn't wanting to go that route. M3 by 16 socket head capture screws, or use the drag chain. Oh, okay. Yes, you can use umbilical to the tool head, or use the drag chain. Okay, so you can run the wiring and stuff through the drag chain. That's another thing that kind of just drew me to the Voron, I guess, ecosystem and stuff, was the looking at the drag chains and how everything's all, really neat. CAN bus is a little complicated to get working. You only recommend it if you like messing around with software. Let's see. I don't like messing around with software too much. Not too much. I don't mind the thing that, again, another thing that kind of drew me to the Voron stuff as well is the idea of being able to easily configure your firmware and stuff like that right there in the main cell and all that. And that definitely drew me to it, because I've had to sit there and compile firmware for my Ender. Marlin is a pain. VS Code and all that mess. It's interesting to learn. It's not anything that I really want to have to do on a regular basis too much. So it says leave a little gap right here at 2.5 millimeters, and we're at 358 right now. Yeah, Clipper is so much easier than Marlin. I can't wait to use Clipper. And eventually, because this little Creality printer right here, it does have a SKR Mini E3. I think it's a V2 on it, so I'll probably be, well, ain't no probably, more than likely I will be upgrading it to Clipper. Once it gets the switch wire conversion. No Marlin ever. Yeah, Marlin's a pain. So there's 255. That's 252. I mean, I guess we could just give it a slight another little nudge like that, another little boom like that, and that ought to be 250. Or 2.5 millimeters, I'm sorry. And moving on with the unclicky, or the tap, it's showing you can do a switch optical or PCB optical. We're not doing none of that. So now, when you install the tool head, the bottom of the tool head should rest on these screw heads. Huh. Interesting. So, showing me to put these little M3 by 6 flathead screws wherever they're at. Done lost them. I had everything up here. M3 by 6 button heads. Oh, here they are. M3 by 6 flathead capture screws, and these just kind of thread in the plastic tube. And got a feeling these are going to take a little bit smaller driver there. Actually, this one will work. Just tighten it down until it comes to a little stop. Get the Big Tree Tech CB1 to run clipper if you can't find a decent Pi deal. You run the CB1 on the Pro, you got a Pi 3B with the 01 kit and a Pi 4B with the 2.4. Okay? Yeah, I really, the Pi is like, they're kind of hard to find right now, and they're expensive. I've done converted my an old laptop. I've made 2 Pis out of it. So it's telling me to put 2 M3. What are these for? It says when. So it's telling me to put 2 button head capture screws right here on the bottom. And it kind of like asks the question. It says, what are these for? When you install the tool head, the bottom of the tool head should rest on these screw heads. So, okay. And those are M3 by 6. We're going to trust the process here. I suppose. Fun fact. Says fun fact. This part has thin voids inside of it. When the part is sliced, these produce internal ribs which strengthen the part. If your slicer closes these up, recheck your slicer settings for hole size compensation. Default slicer profiles are available for Voron printers in the GitHub repository. I don't know. I don't even know what they're talking about. And I'm putting these on backwards. It was on the back side like this. Use a clever trick to reinforce the parts. Yeah, that's That's what I was reading there. I didn't really know what they were talking about. That's long story short. Yeah. So Nick, you said you done the tap. These two bolts that go right here in the bottom. You screw them all the way flat and flush with this part of it, the assembly. Well, hang on. Okay. I was about to go for it. I was just going to run them in and say, well, I can back them out later, but I'm waiting. So I'm just about to I think I'm to a point now to where I can actually, I'll be having to do the clockwork 2 assembly. That's the one. That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, the bottom ones. Yeah. So they're just bolted up all the way, or just screwed all the way up flat with the plastic. Wow. It's like they don't really serve a purpose too much, except for, I don't know, it don't make much sense to me. All the way. 10-4. Yeah, that's a little confusing. All right. Oh, okay. So I even see it like right here in the documentation. It's talking about it, the cutaway view in the blue, all 4 screws in the surface that may need to be trimmed back. Huh. Tool head is flat against tap and can be firmly secured. Okay. So they do serve a purpose. Something else rests on them. Yeah, I think it's like the back of the, what I was looking at in this manual right here. It seems like it's going to be the back of, I guess it's the back part of your fan, your cooling assembly and all that stuff for your parts cooling, maybe, and what holds your hot end in, maybe. Yeah, it's part of the stealth burner. Yeah. So we got a carriage right here, and I gotta get this thing on here without dropping my balls. This ought to be really fun. There it is. Right on there. I got it on there without dropping my balls. It seems kind of smooth. I think it's going to be just fine. Alrighty. So here's something that was kind of weird to me about this tap too. So I've seen people, like, whenever they're pulling their belts through and they're putting it on, and they run the belt back through here, through this little hole. Okay, and then they also provided in the sides of this like a little place to loop the belt back through. And it just seems kind of weird to me, because this part right here is in movement, you know, and this one stays stationary. So why would you put the belts back through there? It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Maybe I'm just dumb like that, but it really don't. It seems like to me you would want to just take and run your excess belt, you know, through this little spot that they provided right here, this little cutout, and leave it. But what do I know? It don't even fit in there for me. We got everything to do with me, my print settings or something. Who knows? And yep, it's showing me to do that. And then we want 4 M3x6 button head screws. Don't forget these washers. Without them, there's the possibility the carriage won't be tight. Make sure these are tight. Yeah, I mean, the way it's telling you to tuck these belts in and stuff, says if you have excess belt, tuck. These should be a loose tuck. Leave enough loop at the bottom so the mechanism can move. It's just meant to keep the belt out of the way on both sides, of course. I think they may have changed that after the original release. So they did do an original. They've actually done a release. M3x6 button heads and the washers. Right here. So yeah, these are, my belts don't even really fit through these. It's weird. Yeah, they're not going to fit through it. I don't know why. And it looked like it was pretty clear. Maybe that's why they left that little loop there. For people who has shitty 3D printers. Oh, so the wife is telling me we got some. Let's see. Oh. 10-4. Let me step out of the room for just a second. I'll be right back. All right, we're back, fellas. Everybody's still in here. Sorry about that. The wife, she wanted to go get us some pizza, and had to tell her bye. So, Nick, you said it looks like you double back over the back piece, and then any extra can go through that. Okay, like a soft release. Okay. Yeah, that it's just not, mine don't want to really fit through these little slots that was 3D printed here. My tolerances is really tight. I mean, they're really tight. It just ain't gonna go. So what I may wind up doing, I don't want it to get, it's probably gonna create a problem for me. There is a sacrificial support on the front piece, I think. You're talking about this piece right here. Yeah, it was a little support right there. I broke that off. I remember seeing that and getting rid of that one. As far as this one, like I said, I don't understand one of the belts. I mean, I don't see, like, it did the bridging really good. It's just very tight. And I can see it's like it's wanting to come through, but it's not letting me do it. I wonder if I took an X-Acto and kind of just tapered this belt a little bit, or just take my nippers and maybe just taper it a little bit, these corners off, give them a nice little taper there. It'll allow me to pull them through. Just ain't gonna let it go. So that's a problem. You might have to do it with my fat fingers too. Not helping it too much. Almost got enough where I can grab a hold of it now. Would you be able to flush cut the belt? I thought about that. You talk about like knocking the teeth off of it. I mean, I got plenty of extra out here. Is that what you're talking about, E-Rars? Like knocking the little teeth off, maybe? That'd get it started, probably. I mean, I don't need all this excess. That's roughly got about 1.5 inches on most of it, except for this very first piece right here. That one's going to be the fun one. You can cut them close. It helps to have a little excess in case you need to take off to fix something. Yeah, that's why I have this much. I kind of want to have a little bit of wiggle room because, again, this is my first one, and if I have to have some adjustment later on down the road, I'd love to be able to have that option for sure. Man, I was just thinking, you know, when I stepped out for a minute to speak with the wife, and it just run through my head, you know, like these guys like Golden Jaguar and Richard, you know, just kind of pushing my channel out there and stuff. I mean, that's amazing to me. Didn't even ask them to; they just kind of just did it. I really appreciate what I'm trying to do here, and really all I'm doing is just sharing my experience with this build. I think I'm going to maybe try to nip a couple of these little ribs off right here. That way I can get enough to just catch a little bite of it. And be able to pull it through. Maybe that'll help. I would like to have the extra length. It doesn't help that I got these big old sausage fingers. It started now, I just need something to grab a hold of it with, like a pair of pliers or something. I had a pair out here earlier. You can cut them close. Yeah, they are really nice guys. I'm glad I found their channels and just started a conversation back and forth with them. I think it was yeah, look at that. Look at that. Very pretty. Yeah, I believe my tolerances is just so dad blame tight on my 3D prints. So I'm gonna do this the same way. I'm gonna kind of just give it like a little bit of a taper on both sides and knock a couple of these just gonna knock a couple of these little ribs right here off the belt, and that allows me to get enough to be able to get it through to where I can actually grab a hold of it with these little pliers right here, and I'll be able to pull it on through. There we go. And it's coming on through. Very nice. Very, very nice. The more you get shout outs, hopefully the more subscribe to help your channel. You deserve it. I appreciate you, Shawdell. I do. I appreciate that. It was kind of funny today because I was looking at the YouTube studio and I actually jumped up to like 167 subscribers. And then I looked down at my phone and I was like, hey, you got a new subscriber. And so I go back to the studio to see who had subscribed to me. And when I gained a subscriber, I must have lost one somewhere. Maybe the FPV guys that aren't really digging this too much, so they might just be pulling back a little bit. I don't know. I lost one. Either that or YouTube just kind of overcounted. I never understand why people would unsubscribe from a channel. I mean, not unless I said something that just was really offensive or didn't align with maybe their belief systems or something like that. But I try to remain neutral whenever it comes to certain things that might bother people, I guess you could say. And definitely don't want to try to get into talking about too much of nothing but what we're doing here. Really. So, I don't know. You've slowly learned that I've been over extruding. Reducing my flow to 92 or 93 made the walls much more accurate. You're showing 168. Wow, okay, that's cool. It's more than what I had when I started the stream earlier. That's cool. Yeah, so I think that's what I actually 93% I think is what I had the flow set to on my printer whenever I was doing all these parts for this build. I had it set to 93% as far as the flow, and they were coming out really good. And I didn't have too much over extrusion, and I wound up getting so confident. So when I first started 3D printing Voron parts for the ender to switch wire conversion, and I had never 3D printed in ABS before. I was 3D printing all my parts with a brim at the bottom, so it was an awful lot of material to have to remove and pull away from it, and I didn't like having to remove all that stuff, that extra material. So I just kind of got brave, and I was actually watching DeWitt 3D Canada one night, and when I printed my very first part for this printer, and I was like, you know what, I finally got my printer dialed in where it wasn't doing the layer shifts, and I said, I'm just going to take a chance. I'm going to try to 3D print one that without a brim and just see how it goes. We'll put a skirt on it, and it came out really good. And I actually had created a really quick short and showed it to the guys. Mentioned it in one of DeWitt 3D Canada's streams, and I think it was Richard at the first layer who had seen it, and he was like, man, that's a really good looking part, sub's your channel. You know, I was like, that's cool. So yeah, it turned out really well, and I was really impressed with it. And like I said, somebody like Richard, you know, he's got a bigger subscriber base. He's probably got a whole lot more knowledge. He's got a whole lot more knowledge at this stuff than I do. He seemed to be pretty enamored with the part that I had, so I was like, well, I'm just going to keep doing them without a brim, and they all came out really well. I was quite surprised. I had some lifting on some of the very first parts, really lightly on the corners. But once I figured out how to get just making sure I kept my build plate super clean, and some fresh layer of, I was using Elmer's adhesive. So that thing's gonna pick all the way up off there, ain't it? It's supposed to stop. Oh, okay, I see what's going on here. I have to adjust those little magnetic clicky things. Alright, you got washers flying everywhere. You know, the only reason I can see someone unsubscribing from your channel is because you do things inside out and upside down. I know that's right. That's the story of my life. I've been doing things backwards my whole life. It's called reverse engineering. nice. It should be a lot easier with an enclosed chamber. You can keep it nice and toasty for ABS and ASA. Absolutely, and that's another thing. So, has any of you guys ever had a whole lot of experience with like I know like PC polycarbonate? That's a super hard material. Have you ever done any printing with that? And do you think that this printer right here, once built, would be capable of handling such a material? So there, that's adjusted. And now it's stopping itself. So there's the tap. And I think like back here it gets M3 by 10 for the unclicky deal. Like I said, I don't know if I should go ahead and run them wires on out of here. Cool. I like it. I'm just gonna leave him like that for right now. You don't have too much experience. How warm is the chamber supposed to be for that? That's a good question. That's a good question. It feels really smooth, fellas. I think it's gonna work. I can't wait to see this thing go. It's gonna be pretty amazing. It looks like so I can look in here and I can see that my belts that are on these pulleys that I put on the motors, there's a tiny little bit of space in between, so it looks like they're riding nice and centered. And these bearings, I mean, it's riding perfect in the slot. So I think we're in good shape. Let's see this one right here, which I'll probably need to get a flashlight to see that. No, it's not riding. It's riding on it like it's supposed to. Just trying to make sure all my belts are riding on these pulleys like they need to. It feels awful tight for some reason. And right there's part of it, and this is exactly what Golden Jaguar was talking about. That one isn't all the way on the pulley. Right here. And that could have been my problem, something that I did. So now I got to figure out how I'm going to get it. There it goes. It just snapped right up on there. Is it going to stay though? Yeah. Feels very tight going back and forth that way. We're going to wear her in. Looks like drying and annealing would be the hard thing with PC. And is that a step that you have to do with PC? Drying and annealing? So I don't know how you would get any adjustment on this one. You know, it kind of just floats in space right there. It's almost like this one needs a little bit of spacer underneath it to keep it. I don't know. They'll probably wind up having to be tensioned up a little bit more. Okay, so where am I at in this build now? We got it ready for a tool head, it looks like. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to build us a clockwork too. That's pretty much the end for the tab. I will say, let's just double check the unclicky tab mod that's in the Voron GitHub and read a little bit about it, because it might tell me how much wire I might need to go ahead and pull out and what size and everything like that. I know it talks about it in the GitHub. It shouldn't be very hard to move the carriage back and forth. Well, it is. It feels really. I mean, it's not very hard, but it feels like really tight. It feels like it's really tight, and especially going that way. I mean, it feels like super tight. You think I might have the belt tension too tight already by hand? I mean, they seem kind of loose. So maybe something's crossed up in here. It's hard, something might be routed wrong, or it might be over tightened. Well, the belt seems like it's really loose. Yeah, I mean, it's like really loose. The bottom one is, the top one isn't. The bottom one's real loose. And this is the part right here where, you know, it's probably one of them deals where, hey, you should have pulled the belt off and cut them the same length and had the same amount of teeth sticking out, so you'd have the same amount of tension. So that one's tight, the top one's like really tight. You see that one's really loose. So that would probably mean I need to pull this mess back off here. Yeah, that's going to be the only way I can get the belt back tight over here on this side. I don't know how that got so loose on this side. Oh yeah, that's right. So this one was kind of down on the bottom of the pulley, like Golden Jaguar talks about. And it seems like, I swear, it seems like these belts right here are rubbing against the, I mean, they're, almost seems like they'd rub against the carriage or the frame. But you can see how loose that one is. Yeah, what? So you can tighten that one at the front. Right here. That's what you're talking about. I guess I could. Can't find a dead blame driver that fits. So what happened right here is I didn't see that it was that it wasn't all the way on this pulley in here. So what tune is it supposed to be playing in? Drop D, 430, 440. Tune her on up. I mean, that's not taking a lot of stress. It's just it feels really tight. I mean, not like it's taking a whole lot of force. It feels smooth. It feels smooth. I think it's gonna be fine. I say we send it. We got plenty of adjustment left. I need to tighten later on in the future. It seems like they're running really good on the pulleys. Everything looks like it's lined up good. I don't know how I would have rerouted it any other way. Everything seems to be falling into place like it needs to. It's like all the bearings want the back side of the belt riding across them, and all the places where the actual tooth pulleys are. And it's not touching anything, it don't look like. Move the gantry front and back, holding the extrusion. Move the gantry front and back. Oh, I see what you're saying. Don't look like the X is moving at all, does it? I'm not holding the X. I'm kind of just got my thumb underneath the extrusion right here and pushing it back. And right there, it looks like it's kind of jiggling around a little bit. But it's probably not going to be printing that far back right there, is it? Well, no, it might. Yeah, it looks like it's kind of wobbling right in there, like it's wanting to dance around or something. Yeah, and I can even see it up here in this pulley right here whenever I'm doing that. I can see that little jump. Once it gets past that, it's fine. Yeah, it kind of is nick right here at the very back. Whenever I get so far back, I can even see, looking at this pulley right here, I can see it kind of just fluttering a little bit at the very back of it. I don't know if that's going to be a problem, but like out here up front, right there, it's doing the same thing. I mean, those are the furthest extremes of it too. So that might be outside of the printing, the build plate. I think the tap's going to work just fine. I do need to remember to put I think I'm going to save all that for the wiring. Guys, this right here seems like a pretty good stopping point for me. Because what's coming up next is a stealth burner build. We'll go ahead and get the whole tool head and all that stuff put together, and we'll go ahead and get that put on here. I'm going to do a little bit further looking into how much wire I may need for this this unclicky tap mod here that I'm doing, and if I need to go ahead and get that put on and maybe go ahead and have the wires ready to go. If anything, I can go ahead and build the tool head and then just run it all together at one time and have the drag chains going. But this looks like a good stopping point right here for me for today. The wife's got some dinner here at the house ready to go. I appreciate y'all sitting in with me and checking out my stream. And if I can get in here one day throughout this week after work and maybe touch on it a little bit, I may just pop in. Keep your eyes open. If anything, we'll try it again next weekend. I appreciate y'all sitting down with me. Hey, thank you, Shawdell. Thank you for sitting in with me. And you guys have a good night. And we'll talk to you later on. This is your poor boy. Peace out.